All right, so I'm with one of my BNB members, Dave. Dave joined us back in early September. I think he actually joined us on August 30th or September 1st, right
Yeah.
around Labor Day of 2024. Dave, I'll pass it over to you real quick to introduce yourself and kind of tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah. So, as Luke said, my name is Dave Seidenberg. I'm a mindset and mental health coach online. Um, Investing has always been a huge priority for me, especially in crypto. But as you know, if you're involved in crypto, it's kind of like the wild, wild west if you don't know what you're doing. And I had some success in the past, but it was taking a toll on me mentally. I was always stressed out and anxious. Even when the market was up, that's probably when I was the most stressed and anxious because I'm like, when do I sell? I want it to go a little bit higher, or then it would dip a little bit. And I'm like, oh, well, if I'm going to wait till it gets back to this price and then I'll sell. And then it would just keep going down and I would end up losing money in the end. So I knew that the market would come back up and I wanted to get in before election time, but I needed to have a game plan. I needed to have some expert advice and the stars aligned. I found Luke and it wasn't even a question for me. And when I originally joined, the sell for me was just getting access to Luke's portfolio. I was like, oh, cool. I'll just follow his portfolio and I'll be good. And then I joined and I was just blown away. It was so much more than the portfolio. It was the education and learning how Luke thinks and why he makes the moves that he does and what he's looking for when he's either going to buy or sell, what the trends look like, just getting inside the mind, but also he's teaching. Like you go so deep into what you're doing and why you're doing it, and you teach people how they do it. So now I feel more comfortable. God forbid I ever had to make my own decisions, although I still prefer to just lean on you for your insights and advice and guidance.
I love it. I love to hear that. So, okay, you touched on how you found us and what you were looking for and what the immediate value that you got from it was. What would you say you were struggling with the most before BNB? Was it emotional control when it comes to your investments, or what was the struggle?
Yeah, so big time emotional control and mindset around it. So um, I was just always looking for really almost like the meme coin type phrase, looking to make big gains. And now joining, it's so much more a professional outlook. It's strategize and I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Which
Yes.
is like, what were you struggling with? I think it
Oh
was
yeah, what
some
was I
degree of.
struggling with? So big time emotion and greed. Like I would, uh, I couldn't. My emotion was so attached to it that I had to have certain sell points, but they were never getting to those sell points because of the fluctuation. And then, for example, let's talk about when we just sold our altcoins before they dumped. Um, we didn't in December they were so high, right? And in February they dipped a little bit, and you saw a bigger crash coming. And in the past, my emotions, my greed would have been like, okay, yeah, I hear it might go down, but I'm sure it'll go back up a little bit. Let me just wait till it hits that point that it was at in December, and then I'll sell.
Mm,
And then all so just and that was just off of I didn't have any idea how to read charts or what goes into these price increases and decreases and it's what that looks like. So I was just really just gambling at that point.
got it.
So I'd say struggling with emotions, gambling, and greed.
Interesting. Yeah, and that seems to be the cocktail of choice for most people that don't necessarily take this too seriously or invest in the right help. Were you following anyone else or trying any other masterminds communities before this when it comes to your investments?
Um, I would follow Twitter
Okay.
and influencers. so they would say like, oh, like things are looking so good right now, good. So I was just, okay, if these guys, they seem like they're doing pretty well with their crypto, I'll just go buy whatever they say. And so a lot of the times I would be buying these shit coins, and it was too late already.
Mm,
They were going right down after that. I was hesitant to buy Bitcoin because I was like thinking short term, like, oh, I can't get too much ROI out of that unless I'm investing like hundreds of thousands of dollars at a time. Um, and that's where the casino and core portfolio has been a game changer for me and shifting that mindset.
right. Making sure you don't put too much in where it's very high risk versus not. Was there a moment, like going back to before you joined, was there a moment where you realized that you probably shouldn't keep going the way that you are and you should actually have a like structured plan to how you invest?
Yeah, so I actually stepped away from crypto altogether for a little while. And I was like, this is just it's too much on my stress and mental health. But I also have a family now. I have kids. I can't just be throwing money away. So I stepped away from it. But at the same time, I was also having FOMO. I was like, I know this is the future and I know there's money to be made here. I just don't know what I'm doing. And I don't have time to be sitting here and researching nonstop and learning about how all of this works. And then I don't even know how I found you, to be honest, but uh, I think it maybe Colin referred you. Yeah, it was Colin referred you to me. Um, but when it was like, oh, can you dedicate 2 hours a week or 3 hours a week? I was like, oh yeah, I could most definitely do that. But I'm also not just blindly researching. I'm learning from an expert, right? So it's not just it's not a waste of time. It's actual being taught by someone individually. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very interesting. I also wonder what was it actually that made you decide to pull the trigger and join Bull Market Blueprint?
I told you in the beginning was just access to your portfolio.
Okay, so it's mainly being able to follow me and just know like yeah, like I've got Luke, whatever Luke's doing,
Yeah.
I can do for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay.
I trust this guy. I know he knows what he's doing. He's good at it. And I don't have to sit here and question any decisions because I had that much faith in you.
Now,
That's what was one of my biggest problems before was constantly questioning every sell and buy. That's what was just wearing me down mentally
right,
because I didn't know what I was doing.
right. I would say you're probably one of the those types of people that is an action taker. Like once you decide to do something, you're kind of all in. You're not a big hesitator. But
Oh yeah.
if there was any, did you have hesitations before joining? Price of the group, time commitment, anything else?
Yeah, so I had never made that much of an investment on myself. So that's what was a little bit hesitant for me was you know, I knew it was a good thing, but I'm like, ooh, this is it's a big investment, and that's a little uncomfortable if you've never done it before. So I wasn't questioning you, I wasn't questioning the group. It's just if you've never made a big investment like that in yourself before, there's always going to be hesitation. You're always going to be uncomfortable. But I've also done enough personal development work on myself to know that any growth that you're looking to have is going to require a type of investment like that.
For sure. For sure. Well, once you made the investment and you did join BMB, what was the first impression that you got once you were inside of the dashboard, the community, and
Yeah.
the onboarding?
Holy shit, this is awesome, and this is far exceeds any expectations I had. I was so excited when you like laid out a blueprint. You were like, "Hey, you got to watch all these calls before we meet," and it's like giving me, and that was awesome because again, I'm not just blindly researching. It's like this is what you need to know. This is what you need to learn, right? So I was excited to dive in and get that foundation right off the bat, and just the videos, how you break it down so easy. This is intricate stuff you're talking about, but for someone like me who really didn't really have any idea what was going on, you made it very simple to learn. So that's what I was really excited about. Just the response time, any questions I had from you, from Ryan, from anybody, other people in the group too, really, really smart, successful people. Everybody's always answering right away. So that was really cool. And the networking, I forgot to mention before, that was also an important thing for me. I find it, I was always reading in books, like I said, I'm a mindset, mental health coach, personal development, that you have to surround yourself with like minded individuals, people that are doing as good as you or better than you. And I knew, so I was searching for a personal development group, not necessarily a crypto group, but I knew when I found BNB, I'm like, wow, oh, this is definitely the type of people that I need to be surrounding myself with. These high level, successful business owners, entrepreneurs, people that have established themselves already. I want some of that to rub off on me. So that was really exciting for me, and having that opportunity to introduce myself in the networking section of Slack, and then connecting with all people on Instagram. It's been really, really cool making these connections. It's exactly what I was looking for, to surround myself with these types of people. So
Yeah, I also really love the amount of effort you put into your own success with this too so far, in terms of like you did make the effort to introduce yourself to people, make the connections. And I even remember when you first onboarded early September, when you had the onboarding package, I think you were pretty busy. I think you were moving houses or doing something. And
yeah,
I remember we had our meeting scheduled for like a Sunday, and I think I sent the package to you on a Thursday. And you're like, and I said, hey, Dave, it would be great if you could make it through a couple of these meetings before we have our actual onboarding call, because then you'll have some context as to where my head's at on the market, and you'll probably have a fair degree of questions from the content that I can answer for you while we can be on the call, make it the most useful for your time specifically. So you did a great job in that sense, and you did prioritize watching the videos and taking the onboarding process and package seriously, which I think ultimately comes down to people's long-term success with BNB starts from day one.
sure.
How did you find the actual onboarding call once we got on together and met each other essentially for the first time?
It was, first of all, let's go before the onboarding call. The form that you have us fill out, like,
Mm.
what's your risk tolerance? How much are you willing to invest? What are your goals? That was most exciting for me because I enjoyed. First of all, it was giving me clarity on where I was at and where I wanted to go. So then, when we got to talk about that face to face, that was just amazing because I could tell, based off of everything I was saying, is how you were calculating putting my portfolio together. So by the time we went through all of that and we put the portfolio together, I had never been more confident and happy and at peace with where I was at with investing in crypto.
No, it makes total sense. Yeah, it's designed that way for a reason. And then we did the call. Like that was a valuable experience for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Again, just the first of all, it felt very personable. It felt like I knew you for years. Like we clicked right away, and yeah, like it's just more ton of value. No, I mean, yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, yeah, I think you've summed it up well. How would you describe the weekly group calls that I do live, and how have they overall helped your decision making process when it comes to crypto?
It's so cool to see the rest. Not that I want to see the rest of the world freaking out, but it's so cool to see how the rest of the world is freaking out. But I have an understanding of why things are the way they are, when they're up, when they're down, getting an idea of where they may or may not be going. It gives me confidence, it gives me clarity, but it's exciting. It's exciting to learn stuff that I never knew before. And this is important stuff to know. And it could really set you up for success in the long run. that's for me, that's what I'm most excited about. Every week I sit down, I'm just leveling up in multiple areas of my life too. It's not just the crypto, it's the personal development, because you're always giving insights on business and mindset as well, and healthy habits. So it goes way beyond the crypto. A ton of really high level, awesome information that, for lack of better terms, that you dumb it down for us, for me anyway, and make it really digestible. Which so I'm able to get excited. I don't feel like I'm lost in the sauce when you're talking.
Yeah, 100%. One aspect that I guess I don't really talk about too much publicly, it's kind of a bonus factor of being in BNB and something that I added to the group by request at some point last year. But we do our weekly business calls and we talk about branding and social media and marketing and sales and sometimes it's just pure business and pure raw cutthroat kind of advice where we go over something and I just explain like this is how I went through a challenge in my life and fixed it and I think this is how it could help you guys. How are those calls been for you? Have you been able to see business growth from me giving you some guidance in that sense?
Those calls are absolutely phenomenal. They are, especially for me as a fairly new entrepreneur, to be able to learn from your mistakes, to be able to learn from your successes, to get an insight on to different things that you're implementing now. Again, why you're implementing it, the everything that you talk about, whether it's crypto, whether it's personal development, whether it's business, you give us a really great insight to inside your mind. This is what I'm thinking. This is why I'm thinking it. This is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. This is what hasn't worked in the past. This is why it didn't work in the past. This was what has worked good. This is why it worked good. So when you give that type of analysis and insight and advice, it makes it really easy to follow. And I get excited to follow it. I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be great. And there's been a few times where I'm like, oh, you know what? I think I'm doing this a little bit wrong. Luke talked about making this mistake in the past and not to get caught up in this. I need to reel it back in right now. So it's just, it gives me a lot of great self-awareness and confidence in moving forward where I'm looking to go and what I'm looking to do.
I love your overall amount of action that you take and how much you absorb what we talk about because not everybody that buys something really gets into it and squeezes every ounce of juice out of it, what it is that they're paying for. I think that you're
Sure.
one of the members in BNB who 100% consumes all the content, is there almost every live meet, and I think that's why you get so much value out of it and have gotten so much value out of it so far is because you're actually doing the work. You're not
Yeah.
waiting for somebody to just give it to you on a silver platter, which is kind
Sure.
of impossible unless they're doing the work for you. But you
Yeah.
are utilizing information that makes it much more streamlined for you to get results. And I value you as a member for doing that because it makes the work that I do worth it.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. I mean, even in my industry, I could give so many people such great advice, but if they're not willing to put it to work, first of all, it's frustrating for me because I'm like, like I can help you. Just listen to me, right? Just do it. So it went on the other end. If I'm in that seat and you're telling me stuff as someone who's been there, done that, yeah, why wouldn't I take that ball and run with it? Yeah, it makes no
Yeah,
sense. Yeah. So it's a no-brainer for me. Yeah.
couldn't agree more. 100%. Jumping back to crypto really quickly, can you talk
Yeah.
about Alpha AI software tools inside of the group?
Oh
How have you been
man.
able to use those for your portfolio and how do you find the value when it comes to having software as well?
Yeah. So again, it takes the emotions away and it gives me confidence. If I come into some extra money and I want to invest it, I kind of just wait on the signals from Alpha AI. All right, is this a good day for me to DCA right now? I want to throw some extra money into Bitcoin. Instead of just strictly looking at prices and kind of hoping and guessing you know, I mean, you can't really go wrong at the end of the day DCAing in Bitcoin, but when you have Alpha AI, you definitely get more juice for the squeeze. If
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I think what you're talking about is our DCA strategy when we're using the risk metric to make sure that we're
yeah,
DCAing on really red days versus just every single day, regardless of what happens, whether it's green or red.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
100%. So software is a big component, obviously, and I
massive. That thing is, and it's insane. It sniped some calls that I was like, holy crap! Like I can't believe how good it is. It's always on the money, man.
yeah, I think that's what happens when you rely on tools that don't have emotions, because really the kind of like the hero's journey with becoming a successful investor is how do I train myself not to listen to myself?
Yeah,
Basically, is
yeah,
what we're doing, right?
yeah, yeah. And I've always been like a big dopamine type investor, and this like the gambling type. So you alpha AI, it's helped regulate me out and make wise, unattached emotion decisions.
Good stuff. Yeah, that's of course the goal and why I built it in the first place.
Mhm.
What do you think of the other resources in the group? So we talked about the live calls, we talked about the software. You always have access to seeing my portfolio and what I'm doing. So that's, fully transparent. We've got the call recording vault. We've got all the other resources and stuff that I make, updates on every couple days, I'm throwing an update into the group video wise. What do you think about that? How does the whole package as a whole feel to you?
Oh man, that could be you could charge money for that in itself. Just that Slack channel. There's all the resources in there. The members discussion is awesome. Like all these different types of people throwing in all different types of ideas, whether it's for investing, but people are even we were talking about real estate investing the other day. Like that's so cool. It's not just some frat boy that you talk to in college that's thinks they have a good idea. Again, these are seasoned successful people, so to be able to communicate with these successful people on a daily basis, and just seeing how they think and where they're allocating their money has been really really cool. Yeah, the resources, I guess, they're phenomenal. I utilize all of them. I still go back and look at some old calls every now and then. So
Amazing.
having that library is like I can't even put it into words. It's beyond valuable.
Yeah, it was full transparency too, so you can see everything
Yeah.
we've ever done since the beginning.
Yep.
Um, how has the group given you, in terms of trying to make the value more tangible for people to understand who aren't in it? What ways has the group influenced your growth? Any specific examples you can provide? I mean, obviously, we'll talk about portfolio in a second, but like, is there specific examples that you've noticed, like, hey, I got this out of the group, this influenced my growth, I was able to do this, or I was able to learn this effectively?
Um, I would say just the most that it's got is just the connections that I'm making with the people within the group.
Okay.
Right, that networking, it was such a big important uh, value of mine, something that I've really, really had my mind on and continue to have it on. I really have been trying to build my network, and just being able to connect with these types of people on a daily basis and linking up with them in Instagram and setting up different business opportunities as well. I know I've coached some people in the group, but I've also learned from people in the group and have hired them. That's so cool to me because you can trust these people. They're successful, but they're trustworthy. It's really like a family. B&B is totally like a family. I feel like I've known these people for years and I've just joined in September, and everybody supports each other and supports each other's growth on social media, in business, and all areas. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, that's what I love so much about the mastermind element of the group. It's one of the things that even before I started doing this was something that I knew I needed to incorporate from day one, because I've learned how powerful it was for my growth and for my development externally before this, and I thought, like, this is something I really want to cultivate on my own. Um, I want to ask you a couple questions about results, because I think that's what people really care about. Is this going to be worth the money? And
Yeah.
you don't have to get into any specifics if you don't want to. Obviously, it's up to you and what you want to share, what you don't want to share. But what tangible results have you gotten since joining BNB?
Heck yeah. I mean, I'm up significantly on Bitcoin, which I don't plan on selling, which wouldn't have always been the case in the past. But knowing how it's such a necessary part of the core portfolio, and yeah, so I'm up very high on Bitcoin, and I sold my altcoins when you did for significant profit before the crash, and now just waiting for your next snipe. But yeah, it's been very, very successful. Significant gains all around in my total portfolio.
Awesome. Awesome. Aside from avoiding losses as a result of selling before things got really ugly recently, um, has BNB helped you avoid losses in any other ways, would you say?
Um, like, can you be a little more specific?
Yeah, like maybe you would have decided to throw more money at the market into specific riskier
Oh,
positions that you didn't
yeah,
otherwise do because you learned that it wasn't a good idea.
constantly, constantly. Yeah. Like I said, I got that gambling mindset, and sometimes some stuff seems a little shiny, and I want to get in on it, but you'll end up usually touching on it in a call and be like, "Hey, I'm looking at this, but not just yet. It's not a great time, but I do have my eye on it." So, and then I'll see like it not perform well. I'm like,
Hmm.
"Oh, Luke saved me again on that one." So yeah, I mean, constantly. If I wasn't in this group, I would have continued to lose money, just not knowing what I was doing and getting that shiny object syndrome, especially when you hear it's so dangerous, Twitter, with all these influencers. And yeah, I was falling into the trap of listening to a lot of them, and that's what was costing me money. So,
100%.
and
Yeah.
again, they're always putting out something, and it's even on coins that have been successful in the past, XRP, Ethereum. They pump these at different times where there's really no basis behind it. Um, as I learn when we get on a call each week, like so.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Um, One thing that I wanted to discuss really quickly before we wrap this up is the timing of when you decided to take action and join. I think one of the reasons why, and I'll quote you on saying this, you achieved significant results with BNB so far is because you took action when the market was boring and you took action
Mm,
when we were at a low point in the trend, at the end of the summer in 2024, early September is when you got started with your DCAs, and you didn't. I don't think you had much crypto exposure, if any, before this. So you
no.
started from scratch with your portfolio in cash.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe you could give people some insight or words of wisdom on actually taking action when it doesn't feel like it's an opportune time, and getting in when things are a little bit red and scary, and really how that's actually led to your amount of success, because that's not experienced when you join at the highs, for example, right? I mean, it takes a
Right.
little bit time. It takes more time to get results because you have to DCA more. You have to sort of take advantage of more buy signals as they come. But you joined, sort of towards the bottom as it was trending up. What would you say to other people who are watching this right now and they're not sure because things are scary, but that you took the plunge when things were scary, and that obviously
Yeah.
worked out pretty well for you?
Flip your mindset. Just don't look at this as scary. This is the most exciting time to get in when it's
Mm.
when it's quote unquote scary,
Hmm.
right? If things are looking hot, then you're like, oh, do I go in now? How much percentage do I put in? Am I too late? Or that's not the time you want to get in. You want to get in when things are calm and slow right now, and people aren't really sure what's going on. To me, that's the most exciting time to be in, and that's where I was. While everybody else was quote unquote scared, I felt urgency because I know I've been burned so many times in the past. I was like, no, this has to be now. I need to get in now, but I need to do it the right way. I need to have some guidance doing it. So for me, it was no question that I needed to get in there. It was just a matter of finding someone that could guide me in the process. So the stars, they kind of aligned. So if you're seeing this right now, while the market is going on right now, that means that you're looking for someone or you're open to have being coached by someone, right? Well, now is the time to do it. Like this is you want to get in now during this time, but you want to do it the right way, and that's why you need someone like Luke, like the group, so you can set up your portfolio before the train takes off and set it up the right way to
Yeah.
maximize your profits.
No,
That's what I was most excited about, man. Was I knew I had to get in. I had to get in during that time, but I was completely lost on how to set up my portfolio.
yeah. And most people know they have to get in, but it often coincides with the wrong time. So I
Yeah,
think it's great that you took advantage of it. When I remember the news headlines, things were scary. They were calling for a recession to
yeah,
start, repeat of 2008 with rate cuts. And, obviously we saw through that with our analysis and you were able to trust in the process to make it happen. And it's been fruitful for you. If you could summarize, like, what would the biggest win be for you in BNB? Like one singular win you think that you've gotten out of this?
um, the casino core portfolio, hands down. Um, just having it set up the right way for success. Like I don't want to. You can't say you can't lose, but I really want to say you can't lose when you have it set up like the way you set us up.
Mhm.
Um, and then you know the information and knowledge as to why it's set up this way, how you came to these decisions. Um, yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. How do you feel now versus before you joined? How's the
Oh
transformation
man.
been?
Yeah, it's awesome. So, I was actually telling my wife about this the other day. It's what's so cool about this is regardless I haven't even really looked at the charts lately, like what Bitcoin's at, where the prices are at. Whether it's high, whether it's low, like it doesn't affect me emotionally. Stress, anxiety. That's all I know because I know I'm in good hands. I'm like, Luke's on this. It doesn't matter to me. I know uh, in the long run, I believe in Bitcoin. I know Bitcoin is going big. So I'm in it now at an awesome time. And I know that you're also looking for awesome altcoin positions. And yeah, so that's just having that confidence. Also, being up in a lot of profit makes it feel really good too. Yeah,
Of course. Who would you say BNB is perfect for?
BNB is perfect for someone that believes in crypto but has doesn't have the time to spend 24/7 looking at charts, um, worldwide events, and just understanding what affects pricing and all that. So they don't have the time to spend 24/7. They believe in crypto, but they're not really sure how to become successful with it.
Right. What would you say? Maybe I'll give you some more context. Like, of
Sure.
course, of course, people already have a fair degree of skepticism when it comes to crypto. And then once they're believers in crypto, of course, they want to learn and they want to further their investment journey with support and with help from experts because, as humans, that's how we develop. We learn from each other who've, gone and forged the path before us. But there's always going to be a degree of skepticism when you're offering a product or a service online, especially when it comes to crypto. And what would you say to anyone who's sort of sitting on the fence right now about BNB, not sure if it's really legit or if it's worth their time or their money? What would you say to those people who are sort of not sure, but at the same time, pretty damn interested in getting started, but they're just not sure?
Yeah. There's absolutely nothing out there that's like B&B, right? Yeah, okay, you've built a good Instagram following, but you're not an influencer, okay? Like you are a professional investor. You know what you're doing, and you're going to teach whoever wants to join how to do the same thing. And I think you even said eventually your goal is for everybody to know how to do this on their own, right? And that's what you get out of this group is you become a savvy investor, but you get your insights, which is just it's you can't put a number on that. If you're on the fence about it, you're scared to make that big investment in yourself, and that's understandable. But to experience any type of growth, you're going to need to make that investment in yourself. And if you're going to do it, BNB is a place to do it.
Do you think there's a cost to not doing it?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a cost to your portfolio, but also I think there's a psychological cost when you're when you don't make that big investment in yourself, you're telling yourself you're not worth it. So to make a significant investment in yourself, like a group like BNB and a mentor like you're telling yourself that you matter, you're worth it. So yeah, there's the financial cost to it that you can miss out on, right? All of these gains or just your portfolio going to dust. But also, I mean, you don't want to be telling yourself subconsciously or psychologically that you're not enough, because this is what this is. It's an investment in yourself. Um,
Yeah, 100%. Very, very true. Um, well, Dave, I think we've covered everything. I really appreciate your opinion on BNB, and it's obviously a very positive one. But at the same time, I didn't do this for you. You did it for yourself because you put in the work and you watched the calls, and you not only watched the calls, you attended them live, and you put yourself first when it comes to actually getting success from this, and that's why you've achieved the results that you have. So I'm grateful as a founder of this business that there's people out there like you that value these kinds of services and take them seriously, get results from them, and, go on and tell other people about them through calls like this, for example. So thank you. um,
yeah,
One last question: if you could just sort
sure.
of sum up your experience overall, what would you say? Like, what's the shortest description of how you felt about being a part of Bull Market Blueprint?
It far exceeded any expectations I ever had. I joined BNB to get access to your portfolio, but then actually learning how everything works, learning, having a game plan, feeling comfortable and making my own decisions, although I still like to lean on you. But one of the most important things is not having my emotions involved, eliminating all of that stress and anxiety, regardless of where the charts are at. That's gone completely. And, the profits that I've made have been amazing. So,
Yeah,
and the networking. So, a
100%.
little wordier than, but there's just so much good to say about it, and I'm so grateful for it. And I'll be a lifelong member. I mean, it's just been absolutely amazing, and I'm so excited for the future. And I mean, if you're hesitating at all, you could reach out to me, but ask yourself, what are you hesitant on? Right? What is it? If it's Luke and his expertise, you could throw it out the window because it's absolutely amazing. If it's the group, they're absolutely amazing. Chances are you're probably just hesitating on making that big investment because it's a little scary to invest that much in yourself for the first time, maybe. But it's worth it. It's 100% worth it and necessary.
Great summary. Great summary. I want to ask you one more thing because
Yeah.
you actually have a unique perspective as well. Not all of our members have attended a live event. Um,
Yeah.
you came to Dubai. You flew, I don't know, 20 hours to get here,
Yeah.
24.
Across the world. Yeah.
Long journey, long journey. And you came to our mastermind back in December for the whole experience. How did you
Yeah.
find that? And did the crypto session that we did, along with just sort of the conversations we had and spend time with members and team and everybody, did
Yeah.
that help you develop as well with this, or was that just sort of a vacation?
No, that was most definitely not a vacation. I mean, the hospitality and all the events and everything we did, don't get me wrong, that was amazing, but that's not why I came out there. I came out there for a place at the table, to sit with more successful, like-minded people. But yeah, I was, I'm never seized. to be amazed. But the crypto session, I learned more, and I'm like, I don't get it. I'm on these calls every week. I've seen all these calls. Like here I am. I'm learning something. And then there's also stuff I forgot. I'm like, oh, you know what? I got to be better at that. Yeah. So that was absolutely amazing. And the personal branding and business portion of it was fantastic. And just the conversations all week long with you, with the other people. Again, these are high level, successful people. And we're talking about high level winning in business, in entrepreneurship, in life. Like that's what I went there for. And I formed some really awesome relationships that'll be lifelong relationships. Yeah, so that was an absolutely fantastic experience, and I can't wait for the next one, man.
So it was worth the jet lag.
Oh yeah, it was totally worth the jet lag, brother. That was the hospitality, the networking, the mastermind sessions. It was just it was awesome. Really,
Yeah.
really amazing. Well worth it. Well worth it.
Yeah, I think on
Again, another
online.
investment.
No, go ahead.
That yeah, that's just it was just I look at those types of things. It was just another investment in myself, and
Yeah.
it's already paid off.
I think you're very good at investing in yourself because not only did you invest to join BNB, you paid the same amount to come to the mastermind individually. And,
Yep.
the goal of the mastermind, from my perspective, is not to make it profitable. It's really to make a great experience where you spend that money with me and I can turn it around and give you a multiple on it immediately with the experience and the education. But I
Yes.
think on the outside, it looks a little bit glitzy and glamoury, and there's
Sure.
sushi and there's supercars, and it doesn't necessarily look like, well, like what are people going here for? But I mean, you were there,
Right.
you learned more, you met people, and it's not just sort of the sex appeal of what is on Instagram or YouTube.
Sure.
There's so much more to that.
That's just the icing on the cake, man. It's the value you were giving us, which is, again, I was blown away because I'm on the calls every week, so to still be able for you to over deliver like that. And then you can't put a price on networking. It's so important to surround yourself with these like-minded individuals who are successful. And, especially when you get there in person, there's just something about the energy. It's rubbing off on each other. It's already paid for itself for me.
Love it. Love it. Well, Dave, I'm really grateful for the words, brother. And I'm also very
Yeah.
grateful for you as a member of BNB and all that you contribute to the community as well. So thank you very much. And I look forward to continue working with you through your journey and developing in this world of crypto together, because really, many people say this, we're just getting started, but I really think the golden decade of crypto is ahead of us, not behind us. And it's important now more than ever to capitalize and just become educated at the bare minimum of what's happening. So if you're in the position to capitalize on it, you can effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so grateful for you and the group, brother. It's been a blessing. Yeah.
Thank you.